Well, welcome to day number 6 of From Paper to Praise, and we'll be doing a mixed media tag for my theme of worship. We've already started with our stamping inks. We've used distressed tea dye and carved pumpkin, and at this point we're adding shading with distressed vintage photo around the corners of the tag. This will give us a little bit of depth for our background as we start to use our other media. The tag, of course, has been pre-cut out of mixed media paper or watercolor paper. I prefer to use watercolor paper because it's just heavier and it will add up a stronger base. Now let's begin adding the embellishments to our tag. We start with some texture stamps in black soot, and we'll apply that to the top and the bottom of the tag. Now let's add some beautiful florals to our tag. We'll put that directly on the center in black soot. And then this is a technique that I really enjoy. It's just a resist technique using a stencil and a baby wipe. But I've got to be forthcoming in telling you the baby wipe was pretty juicy. And as you see when I pull the stencil off, there's some residue left over. But I think that that adds to the texture of the overall work. I'm really glad that I used watercolor paper for this tag because any type of wet will run amok with any other type of cardstock. So now we're going to use our embellishments. I've cut a piece of corrugated cardboard, inked around it as texture, and then remember that our theme is worship. So I've collected images that mean worship to me. Of course, you know that art is very near and dear to my heart as a form of worship. My church, I worship at my local church. And then we're going to do a pop-up using 3D adhesive dots for the scripture, which is truth, and there's worship in my Bible study. Finally, we're going to add one more pop of texture to our tag through a use of modeling paste and the stencil that we used with the baby wipe. That'll add just enough pop to add some visual interest. So there you have our tag, and the one remaining thing to do is to ink around the tag. We're using vintage photo to ink around the edges of the tag. We normally do that with all of our tags so that there is some depth to the tag. I hope through this mixed media lesson that you have discovered some new techniques to use. But first and foremost, while you're doing your art, please keep in mind the reason that we're grateful. And in today's lesson, we're grateful for worship, that we can come before the throne of God and give Him our praise.